Hermanos míos, recordemos las palabras del Señor en estos tiempos difíciles. Como dice la Escritura, la fe mueve montañas y el amor de Dios nos guía en cada paso del camino. Mantengamos firme nuestra confianza en su divina providencia. There's a power within you that society has taught you to squander. An energy the ancients called the sacred fire, that Napoleon Hill recognized as the best-kept secret of history's great men, and that you, perhaps unknowingly, have been draining from yourself every day. Today, I'll show you what really happens when you stop masturbating for 7, 30, and 90 days. But this isn't just about sexual abstinence. It's about awakening the sleeping dragon within you and channeling your primal power to become the most powerful version of yourself. The question that should haunt your body is this: how many times have you felt that post-orgasm fatigue, that inexplicable emptiness, that feeling that something vital has just slipped through your fingers? You may have called it relief, pleasure, normalcy, but what if I told you that every time you masturbate, you're literally draining the same energy that could transform you into a magnetic, prosperous, and fulfilled man? Napoleon Hill, in his studies of the most successful men of his time, discovered a disturbing pattern. They had all learned the art of sexual transmutation. They weren't men who denied their sexuality, but who transformed it into fuel for their highest ambitions. They understood something that our modern society has completely lost, that sexual energy is the most powerful creative force in the universe, and wasting it is wasting your own divine potential. But our culture has programmed us for the opposite. We live in a society that has hypersexualized everything, that has turned instant gratification into a collective obsession, that has convinced us that releasing this energy through masturbation is healthy, normal, even necessary. And so, millions of men wake up every day a little weaker, a little less focused, a little emptier, without understanding why. What I'm going to reveal to you today isn't cheap moralism or sexual repression disguised as spirituality. It's pure science combined with ancient wisdom. It's the understanding that your body is a sophisticated alchemical machine capable of transforming the most basic impulse into the most refined force. And when you stop wasting this energy, something extraordinary begins to happen. Let's start with the first 7 days. In the first moments of retention, your body doesn't understand what's happening. It has been conditioned to release, to empty itself, to seek instant gratification. But when you deny this impulse, when you look desire in the eye and say no, something deep moves within you. It's as if you're awakening a sleeping giant. Neurologically, your brain begins to reorganize. Dopamine receptors, which were desensitized by the constant cycle of arousal and release, begin to readjust. It's an uncomfortable process, almost painful at times, because you're literally breaking neural pathways that have been built over years. You may feel irritation, anxiety, a restlessness that seems nameless. This isn't weakness, it's awakening. Physically, something even more impressive is happening. Your body is redirecting resources. The energy that was previously spent on the constant production of seminal fluids is now being channeled to other systems. Your testosterone, which normally plummets after each orgasm, begins to stabilize at higher levels. And testosterone isn't just a sex hormone. It's the hormone of ambition, determination, and masculine presence. On the 7th day, many men report the first glimpse of what's to come, a subtle but perceptible mental clarity. It's as if a fog you didn't even know existed begins to dissipate. Your eyes shine a little brighter. Your posture becomes slightly more erect. Your voice carries a little more authority. These are subtle, almost imperceptible changes, but real. But the seventh day is only the beginning. It's like planting a seed and seeing the first sprout emerge from the earth. The true power is revealed when you persist, when you push through the initial discomfort and enter the uncharted territory of conscious transmutation. At 30 days, you're not the same person. Something fundamental has changed within you, and this change is reflected in every cell of your body. Neurologically, your brain has undergone a profound reorganization. Neural pathways linked to immediate reward and instant gratification have begun to weaken, while new circuits linked to focus, discipline, and long-term achievement have strengthened. Your hormonal system has transformed into a fine, light-tuned symphony. Testosterone isn't just higher, it's being used more efficiently. Your body has learned to conserve and redistribute the resources. The energy that was once wasted now fuels muscles, bones, and vital organs. You may notice that your skin has a different glow, that your hair is stronger, that there's a vitality emanating from you that wasn't there before. But perhaps the most remarkable transformation happens in your personal magnetism. There's something the ancients called Jing, the vital essence that determines your presence in the world. When you conserve this essence, when you stop wasting it on fleeting pleasures, it accumulates within you like an electric charge. People begin to notice. They can't explain what's changed, but they sense that something is different about you. Your presence becomes more magnetic, your confidence more natural, your charisma more authentic. At 30 days, many men discover that their ability to concentrate has multiplied. Tasks that once seemed impossible now flow with ease. Projects that had been put off suddenly come to life. There is a force propelling you from the inside out, a creative energy that manifests itself in all areas of your life. Here's the 90-day transformation, unleashing your inner power. And here's the fascinating part. This energy isn't just physical. It's mental, emotional, spiritual. It's like you've discovered high-octane fuel for your soul. Your emotions become more stable, less reactive. Your intuition sharpens. You start noticing opportunities you missed before, making decisions with a clarity you never possessed. But even deeper levels of transformation await. If you can resist the seductions of the modern world, if you can keep this sacred fire burning within you long enough, you'll discover dimensions of your own power you never knew existed. At 90 days, you've crossed the threshold. You're no longer simply abstaining from a habit. You've become an alchemist of your own energy. 3 months of conscious restraint have transformed not just your body, but your soul. You've unlocked the secret Napoleon Hill, spent decades studying how to transform sexual drive into the driving force of success and fulfillment. Neurologically, your brain has undergone a complete metamorphosis. The studies show that after 90 days without pornography and masturbation, the brain develops new neural pathways associated with focus, creativity, and determination. It's like you've installed a completely new operating system in your mind. Your ability to process complex information, maintain focus for extended periods, make decisions under pressure, all of it is amplified. Hormonally, you've become an optimized machine. Your testosterone isn't just high, it's being converted more efficiently into all the substances your body needs to thrive. Your energy levels are consistently elevated throughout the day. You wake up refreshed, maintain vitality through hours of intense work, and still have energy to exercise, create, and build. But the most profound transformation happens at the level of your essence. You've developed what ancient warriors called inner presence. It's an indefinable, yet powerful quality. People sense your strength before you even speak. Your confidence is no longer something you need to fake or force. It emanates naturally because you know, on a deep, visceral level, that you've mastered one of the most primal forces of human nature. At 90 days, many men discover their intuition has become almost superhuman. They can read people and situations with stunning clarity. Business opportunities appear as if magnetically drawn to them. Relationships deepen because they're no longer wasting their emotional energy on empty fantasies. And here's what's truly revolutionary. You've discovered that sexual energy, when not wasted, naturally transforms into all other forms of success. It becomes creative energy when you're working on an important project. It becomes personal magnetism when you're leading a team. It becomes sharp intuition when you're making financial decisions. It becomes spiritual presence when you're seeking meaning and purpose. At this point in our journey together, I need to pause and invite you to something important. If what I'm sharing resonates with you, if you feel there's a profound truth here that goes beyond any passing theory or trend, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel right now and hit the notification bell, because what I'm revealing here isn't just information, it's a transformation. And real transformation requires time, consistency, and guidance. In the next videos, I'll delve even deeper into the practical secrets of sexual transmutation, show you specific techniques that ancient masters used to channel this energy, and reveal how to integrate this practice into your daily life so it becomes not just an experiment, but a way of life. But that will only happen if you decided to commit to your own evolution right now. Subscribe, hit the bell, and let's continue this journey of self-discovery together. Now, returning to our exploration, what makes 90 days so significant isn't just the duration, but what that duration symbolically represents. In alchemic tradition, 90 days is the time required for complete transmutation. It's the time it takes for lead to turn into gold, for the ordinary to become extraordinary, for the common man to awaken the inner warrior. And that brings us to the heart of the matter. What's really happening during these 90 days isn't just biological or psychological, it's spiritual. You're participating in a rite of passages that humanity has practiced for millennia, but that our modern culture has completely forgotten. You're reclaiming your power from the culture that taught you to waste it. But here's what nobody tells you about this journey. It's not linear. It's not like climbing a ladder where each step is easier than the last. It's more like forging a sword. There are moments of intense heat where you feel like you'll break, followed by periods of cooling where you solidify into a stronger form. There will be days, especially between the second and third week, where every fiber of your being will scream for you to return to old habits. These are the moments of greatest growth. What you're facing in these difficult moments isn't just sexual abstinence. You're confronting years of cultural conditioning, decades of neural pathways, centuries of collective programming that convince you that immediate pleasure is more important than lasting power. You're fighting against an entire culture that profits from your weakness, that benefits from your addiction, that needs you to remain a passive consumer instead of becoming an active creator. That's why so few men complete this journey. It's not because it's impossible, but because it demands something our society no longer teaches: the ability to delay gratification in the name of a greater vision of oneself. It's the ability to look in the mirror and see not just who you are today, but who you can become. Napoleon Hill observed that the most successful men of his time all possessed one common quality: They had mastered sexual transmutation. But what does that really mean? It means they discovered how to take the most primal force within them, the urge to procreate, the energy of life creation, and redirect it to create wealth, influence, art, legacy. They understood that the same energy that creates babies also creates empires. When you consciously retain your sexual energy, you're doing more than just abstaining from a physical act. You're declaring war on your own mediocrity. You're telling the universe that you're no longer content to be ordinary, that you're no longer willing to squander your divine potential on fleeting pleasures. And the universe responds to this declaration in a way that may seem almost magical, but is perfectly scientific. When you stop draining your vital energy, that energy needs to go somewhere. And where it goes determines who you become. If you simply suppress it, it will manifest as anxiety, aggression, frustration. But if you learn to consciously channel it, it becomes the fuel for your greatest achievements. Here's where most men fail. They stop masturbating, but they don't learn to redirect the energy. It's like damming a river without creating new channels for the water to flow. The pressure builds until the dam bursts, and they revert to old habits with even greater intensity. The key isn't repression, it's transmutation. True sexual transmutation requires you to develop new channels for your vital energy. It could be through intense physical exercise, where you use your sexual drive to build a powerful body. It could be through artistic creation, where you transform desire into beauty. It could be through entrepreneurship, where you channel your reproductive energy into reproducing wealth. It could be through spiritual development, where you use your most earthly force to reach the highest heavens. But regardless of which channel you choose, the process is the same. You take the energy you would normally waste in a few seconds of pleasure and invest it in years of accomplishment. You trade instant gratification for lasting satisfaction. You choose real power over illusory pleasure. And here's what makes this choice so revolutionary in the modern world. You're swimming against a massive cultural current. We live in a time where virtually everything is designed to make you squander your vital energy. Pornography is more accessible than ever. Social media is structured to keep you in a constant state of superficial arousal. Advertising uses sexual appeals to sell everything from cars to soda. When you choose conscious retention, you're withdrawing from this matrix of distraction and manipulation. You're reclaiming your autonomy over your own neurological responses. You're becoming sovereign in your own inner kingdom. But this sovereignty comes with a price, and the price is total responsibility for your own transformation. You can no longer blame genetics for your lack of energy. You can no longer blame circumstances for your lack of focus. You can no longer blame luck for your lack of personal magnetism. When you master your sexual energy, you master the building blocks of your own destiny. And that is perhaps the most profound revelation of this entire journey, that you always had the power. You always had access to the energies that creates worlds. You always had within you the force that moves mountains, that builds empires, that inspires multitudes. The only thing that's changed is that you've now chosen to stop wasting it. At 90 days, you haven't discovered a new power. You've recovered an old one. You haven't become something different. You've removed everything that was preventing you from being who you were always meant to be. You haven't gained energy. You've stopped losing it. And this realization carries with it a sacred responsibility. Because now you know, you can no longer feign ignorance. You've experienced firsthand what happens when a man chooses to honor his vital energy instead of squandering it. You've become living proof that radical transformation is possible, that the limits society imposes are illusory, that every man carries within him a divine potential waiting to be awakened. But here's the final paradox, and perhaps the most beautiful: when you truly master your sexual energy, when you truly learn the art of transmutation, you discover that the goal was never to avoid sex. The goal was to become worthy of it. It was to develop the magnetism, the presence, the inner strength that naturally attracts higher quality relationships into your life. It was to become the kind of man who doesn't need to pursue pleasure because pleasure pursues him. Many who complete 90 days of conscious retention frequently report that their love lives are completely transformed. Not because they've become ascetics, but because they've become magnetic. They no longer need to chase, they attract. They no longer need to impress, they inspire. They no longer need to consume a love, they create love. And that brings us to the heart of it all. Sexual energy is the energy of creation. When you waste that energy, you waste your capacity to create. When you conserve that energy, you unleash your unlimited creative potential. When you learn to consciously transmute it, you become a co-creator with the most fundamental forces of the universe. So, what happens to your body after 7, 30, and 90 days of this process? It remembers who you truly are. It rediscovers its natural vitality. It awakens powers that have lain dormant for years. It apparents the vehicle through which your soul can finally express its greatness in the world. But more importantly than that, you discover that it was never about the body. It was always about the spirit using the body as an instrument for its own fulfillment. It was about the consciousness learning to dance with energy. It was about you discovering that you are not a victim of your impulses, but the conductor of your inner forces. The 90-day journey isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the beginning. It's the awakening. It's the moment you realize you've spent your whole life asleep and finally open your eyes to who you truly are and what you're truly capable of. It's the moment you stop living the life society designed for you and start living the life your soul came here to experience. And now, having seen what's possible, having experienced a glimpse of your true potential, you have a choice to make. You can return to the comfortable slumber of mediocrity, or you can embrace the uncomfortable awakening of greatness. You can continue to squander the sacred fire that burns within you, or you can learn to use it to illuminate not only your own life, but the lives of all those fortunate enough to cross your path. The choice is yours. It always has been, and it always will be. But now, at least, you know you have a choice. And maybe that's all you needed to know to begin your own journey of transmutation, your own adventure in inner alchemy, your own quest for the most powerful, most magnetic, most fulfilled version of who you can become. The dragon is awake. The question now is, will you feed it or tame it? Will you be consumed by the fire or become the fire? The answer is in your hands. And the power to choose is in your soul. Use it well.